Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and for the first time in your life, there is no fear, no irritation, no emotional turmoil caused by others. The world moves around you. Voices rise, criticisms fly, expectations press down. But none of it touches you. The judgments that once cut deep now dissolve like mist. The betrayals that once shattered you are nothing more than passing weather. The opinions, rejections, and disappointments that once dictated your self-worth hold no power. You feel something unfamiliar, something rare, absolute sovereignty over your inner world. But then a disturbing thought creeps in. If nothing affects you, does that make you free, or does it make you inhuman? For years, you were taught that to be affected is to be alive. Love is to be vulnerable. Empathy is to feel another's suffering. Society whispers that you should care about validation, about reputation, about playing your role in the grand social theatre. To detach from it all, that is the mark of the heartless, the sociopath, the loner doomed to exile. And yet, somewhere deep inside, you feel the weight of another truth, one you have always suspected but never dared to embrace. The weight of your own suffering, the chains of your reactivity, the endless cycle of emotional slavery where your state of mind is dictated by the moods, words, and actions of others. Think about it. How much of your life is not yours? How many moments have been hijacked by the careless words of a stranger? How many years lost chasing validation from people who don't even think of you at night? How often has your peace been shattered by someone else's weakness, their selfishness, their inability to control themselves? And worst of all, how often have you surrendered your own emotions, your own sense of self, to the shifting tides of a world that does not care? Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine living in such a way that no one, not a single soul, has the power to disturb your mind. Not with insults, not with betrayal, not even with love or admiration. You walk through the world untouched. You are present, aware, engaged, but immune. No person, no event, no fleeting disaster has the power to move you from your center. Would that be liberation, or would it be a prison? Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What if the thing controlling you is not the world, not other people, not circumstance, but a hidden force within yourself? Force that makes you react before you think. A force that feeds off your need to be seen, to be approved, to belong. A force that makes you fragile in the face of rejection, anger, and the unpredictability of others. What if the secret to invulnerability is not in numbing yourself, not in withdrawing, not in pretending to be above it all, but in exposing the very thing that enslaves you? What if true power lies in something deeper, something that changes not just how you respond to the world, but how the world responds to you? The answer is there, waiting in the shadows of your own mind. But before we reach it, you must understand one thing: why you are this way. And so we must go deeper, into the hidden forces that shape you, the unseen mechanisms that keep you bound, the psychological roots of your reactivity, the ancient wiring that makes you dance to a tune you did not choose. If you have ever wanted to be free, truly, unshakably free, then stay with me. Because what you are about to discover will change everything. Why is it that a single insult can ruin your entire day, but 100 compliments barely linger in your mind? Why does a passing glance of disapproval from a stranger, someone you will never see again, feel like a personal attack? Why does rejection sting like a knife? And why does betrayal shatter you in ways logic cannot explain? To understand this, you must first realize something unsettling. You were not born this way. As a child, you were whole. You existed in a state of being, not reaction. A child does not analyze whether they are lovable or worthy. They simply are. They cry, they laugh, they express without inhibition. They do not shape themselves based on approval. But then something happens. You are taught, directly or indirectly, that your worth is conditional, that who you are is not enough, that to be accepted, to be safe, to be loved, you must adapt. You must shape yourself into what is desirable. You must suppress what is unacceptable. You learn that love can be withdrawn, that affection is a transaction, that belonging has rules, and from this moment forward, your unconscious mind begins its work. Carl Jung called this the formation of the persona, the mask we wear to survive society. It is the version of yourself designed to be accepted, admired, and safe from rejection. But what happens to the parts of you that don't fit the mask? They do not disappear. They are buried. Jung called this the shadow, the hidden self, the collection of all that you were forced to suppress, all that was deemed unacceptable, unworthy, or dangerous. Your raw emotions, your unfiltered desires, your deepest fears, all locked away in the unconscious. But the shadow does not stay silent. Every time someone criticizes you, every time you feel judged, every time you are rejected, it is not just the present moment you are reacting to. It is all of it, all the buried wounds, all the childhood moments of feeling unseen, all the silent fears of being unworthy. Your emotional reactions are not about what is happening. They are about what has always been happening. And this is where the trap is set. The world teaches you that the solution is external, that if you can just gain enough approval, if you can just be admired, if you can just make yourself untouchable to criticism, then you will be free. But this is a lie. No amount of validation will ever be enough because it is not addressing the real problem. The real problem is that you are at war with yourself, and so the cycle continues. You react, you suffer, you chase validation, you suppress your pain, and you wonder why nothing ever changes. But here is the secret Jung and other great thinkers knew. Your suffering is not coming from the world. It is coming from your attachment to the persona you created. If someone insults you and it wounds you, it is only because a part of you fears that the insult is true. If someone betrays you and it shatters you, it is because a part of you based your safety on the illusion of their loyalty. If someone ignores you and it devastates you, it is because a part of you still seeks external confirmation of your worth. And the truth is, as long as your sense of self is entangled with external forces, you will always be at their mercy. But what if there was another way? What if, instead of chasing external invulnerability, you could build something deeper, a self so whole that nothing external can shake it? To do that, you must first see the consequences of staying blind. Because this problem does not just steal your peace. It shapes the world around you in ways far darker than you realize. It is time to uncover the unseen consequences. Imagine a marionette, strings attached to its limbs, moving in perfect sync with an unseen hand. A slight tug, and it raises an arm, a sharper pull, and it spins. It does not question. It does not resist. It believes the movement is its own. Now, imagine that marionette is you. You are conditioned to believe that your emotions are personal and that your reactions arise naturally from within. But the truth is far more unsettling. The way you feel, the way you respond, it has been dictated, programmed, and reinforced by forces you do not control. Every day, without realizing it, you are being manipulated, not just by individuals, but by entire systems designed to feed on your emotions. Your outrage fuels media corporations. Your insecurities drive billion-dollar industries. Your fear of rejection sustains social hierarchies. Your need for validation is the foundation of social media's power. They do not need chains to control you. They only need to ensure that you react. Think of the last time someone insulted you, the last time someone ignored your message, the last time someone made you feel small. Where did your mind go? Did you replay the moment? Did you analyze what you could have said differently? Did you feel a surge of emotion you could not contain? Now ask yourself this. Who controlled you in that moment? It wasn't you. It was them. The person who insulted you may have forgotten your existence within minutes, yet you carried their words like a wound that refused to heal. The stranger who ignored you might not have thought twice, yet you let their indifference dictate your worth. The betrayal you suffered may have been just another moment for the one who betrayed you, yet it altered the very fabric of your reality. This is the unseen consequence of reactivity. Your mind is no longer your own, and it goes deeper still. Because if you are shaped by external forces, then so is everyone else. The world is filled with people reacting to their own wounds, their own shadows, their own invisible strings being pulled. An insult is often not an insult. It is an expression of someone else's pain. A betrayal is often not about you. It is about another person's own emptiness. The truth is, everyone is projecting. The man who belittles you is speaking to his own inadequacy. The friend who abandons you is running from their own fears. The lover who manipulates you is controlled by their own wounds. Yet here you are, taking it personally, as if their actions define you, as if their words hold the weight of truth. But the most dangerous consequence of all, the cycle continues. Because when you react, when you lash out, when you let the pain consume you, you become part of the very system that enslaved you. You let your wounds dictate your actions. You pass down the same pain that was given to you, and so the world remains trapped. Look around. Wars are not started by logic. They are started by unhealed wounds. Relationships do not crumble from circumstance. They collapse under the weight of unconscious fears. Social hierarchies are not maintained by power alone. They are reinforced by people's desperate need to belong. And yet, there is a way out, a way to break free, a way to cut the strings. But it is not what you think. Because true liberation does not come from controlling others, from winning battles, or from forcing the world to respect you. It comes from something far more radical. It is time for rebellion, but not against the world, against yourself. Imagine standing in the middle of a battlefield. Around you, people scream, weapons clash, blood spills. But here's the strange part. You're not fighting anyone. You're just standing there, unarmed, watching. And then, something even stranger happens. One by one, the soldiers turn to you. They beg you to join. They shove weapons into your hands. They tell you it's your duty, your right, your responsibility to fight. But you don't. And in that moment, you see the truth. The battle was never yours to begin with. This is the rebellion. The world tells you that strength comes from domination, that power comes from control, and that invincibility comes from making yourself untouchable. But that is just another illusion, another trick to keep you enslaved to the system of reaction. Real power is not reacting at all. But how? How do you reach a place where no insult, no rejection, no betrayal has the power to shake you? The answer is not in forcing yourself to be indifferent. That is just another mask, another persona. No, the answer is in realizing that the things that once controlled you only had power because you gave them power. Step 1. See the reaction for what it is. The next time someone insults you, pauses before responding to your message, undermines your intelligence, watch what happens inside you. Don't suppress it. Don't fight it. Just watch. Does anger rise? Does shame crawl up your spine? Does your mind race, crafting arguments, justifications, and ways to prove yourself? Good. Now, ask yourself, what part of me is reacting? Because it isn't your true self. It is the mask you created, the persona that still clings to validation, that still fears rejection, that still needs to be seen a certain way to feel whole. And here's the most powerful realization. You do not have to defend a false self. The moment you see the reaction for what it is, a programmed response, a ghost of your conditioning, it begins to lose its grip. But this is only the beginning. Step 2. Observe without engaging. You were never taught how to simply observe your emotions. You were only ever taught to suppress or indulge them, to lash out in defense or swallow them in silence. But there is a third way. The next time a reaction arises, try this. Do nothing. Yes, feel the emotion. Let it move through you, but do not engage with it. Do not feed it with internal justifications. Do not act on it. Just let it be. And then something extraordinary happens. It passes, like a wave crashing on the shore, like smoke dissolving into the sky. This is where the power is. Not in repression, not in detachment, in seeing through the illusion that these emotions are permanent, that they are real threats. Step 3. Question the source of your pain. Now go deeper. If a stranger calls you worthless, why does it hurt? If someone ignores you, why does it sting? If you are betrayed, why does it break you? Because somewhere inside, you still believe the illusion. You still believe your worth is tied to how others see you. You still believe that rejection is proof of unworthiness. You still believe that betrayal is a reflection of your own value. But what if none of that was true? What if you did not base your identity on something so fragile? Step 4. Shift your sense of self. Imagine for a moment a tree standing alone in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain lashes against it, and the earth beneath it shakes. Does the tree take it personally? No. It remains rooted, unmoved, because it does not depend on the approval of the wind. Now, imagine yourself the same way. What if your sense of self was not built on external approval? What if no amount of rejection, criticism, or betrayal could shake you because you were rooted in something deeper? The moment you stop outsourcing your self-worth, the moment you stop believing that the world has power over you, you become untouchable. Not in a way that makes you cold, not in a way that makes you distant, but in a way that makes you free. And now, the final step. Step 5. Let go of the need to win. This is the hardest part, because the ego always wants to win, to prove itself, to be right, to be admired. But what if you let go of that? What if you no longer needed to defend yourself? What if you no longer needed to prove your worth? What if you could simply be, without needing the world to agree? Then, and only then, does the world lose its hold on you. This is the rebellion, not a battle to win, not a war to fight, but a quiet, radical refusal to play the game at all. And once you do that, something extraordinary happens. You are finally free. But freedom is not the end, because beyond this rebellion, beyond this breaking of chains, there is an even deeper truth. A truth so profound that once you see it, your entire perception of reality will shift. And that is where we must go next. Imagine this. You are standing on a mountaintop, alone. The wind rushes past your face, the sky stretches infinitely above, and the world below seems impossibly distant. There is no noise, no judgment, no expectations. Just you and existence itself. And then a realization dawns, one so profound that it shakes everything you thought you knew. There was never anything to defend, not your reputation, not your worth, not your identity, because those things were never real to begin with. All your life, you have been protecting a phantom, a collection of stories, fears, and illusions masquerading as you. The pain you feel from rejection, it was never about you. The anger you held toward betrayal, it was never about you. The fear of being misunderstood, judged, abandoned, none of it was ever about you, because the you that suffered was nothing more than a construct, a fragile illusion created by the mind. The greatest secret is this: the self you have been protecting does not exist. Carl Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to navigate the world, but beneath that mask is the shadow. The parts of ourselves we reject, fear, or suppress. And beneath even that is something deeper, something few ever touch. The formless, boundless awareness that was never broken, never lacking, never incomplete. This is what the ancient sages called the true self. It is what the Buddhists call no self, not a void, but a liberation from the false idea of self. It is what Eckhart Tolle calls presence, what the Stoics called the inner citadel, what the mystics called the divine spark. And the moment you glimpse it, everything changes. Because if there is no fixed you to protect, then what could possibly harm you? An insult? It is just sound, vibrations in the air. Rejection? It is just another person's perception, nothing more. Loss? You never truly possessed anything to begin with. The suffering you experienced was never caused by life itself. It was caused by attachment to an identity that never existed. Most people spend their lives running from this truth because it is terrifying. The ego does not want to die. It will fight, scream, and grasp at anything to maintain its illusion of control. But the moment you stop feeding it, the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop believing its lies, it dissolves, and in its place, something incredible emerges. A silence was so vast that all worries become insignificant, a clarity so profound that no illusion can shake it, a freedom so complete that nothing can touch you again. Not because you have become indifferent, but because you have awakened to the truth. There is nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to fear. Here is the final paradox. The more you try to make yourself invulnerable, the more fragile you become. The more you resist pain, the more it controls you. The more you seek power, the weaker you feel. But the moment you surrender, the moment you stop resisting, the moment you let go, you become untouchable. Not because the world changes, but because you no longer need it to. Look around you. Every struggle, every insecurity, every moment of suffering you have ever experienced was rooted in one thing: a belief in a self that does not exist. The moment you see through the illusion, you are free. Not in the way the world defines freedom, not through dominance or control, but through the radical, undeniable truth that you were never trapped to begin with. Now, stand at the edge of this realization. Look down at the world below, at the battlefield where people are still fighting, still defending, still clinging to illusions, and ask yourself, will you go back, or will you step forward into the vast, unshakable peace of knowing that nothing and no one can ever touch you again, because the war was never real, and now you are free. So now, the choice is yours. You can step back into the world as you once were, carrying the weight of every opinion, every expectation, every fleeting emotion that drags you into suffering. You can keep fighting battles that were never yours to fight, shielding an identity that was never real to begin with, or you can let it all go. You can step into a reality where nothing can touch you, because you no longer grasp at illusions. A life where strength is not in resistance, but in surrender. Where power is not in control, but in stillness. Where you move through the world, untethered, unshaken, untouchable. If this message resonated with you, don't let it fade into the background noise of your life. Take a moment, sit in silence, let this truth settle within you, and when you're ready, share your thoughts in the comments. What was the moment in your life when you realized that nothing, no insult, no rejection, no loss could truly define you? And if you want to go deeper, to explore more of these hidden truths, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the journey does not end here, it has only just begun.